Hoosier Nation, what's up? Jeff and Ben here. Indiana beats Ohio State 66-60 on Saturday to move to 19-12 on the year overall, 10-10 in the conference. It's a big milestone. If you know anything about trying to get into the tournament from through the Big Ten, you really need to be 500. We'll get to that. Indiana got through a first half that honestly was one of the poorer performances you'll see in a while from them, and we're only down 4 and managed to find a way late on the back of Trey Galloway. Ben, your initial thoughts on yesterday's game and kind of where we stand?
Well, it was a rock fight, and it required me to drink a lot of Modelo to get through the end, if you want me to be honest about the situation. I will say one thing, though, to be positive. The team played really, really hard. They played good defense. They did make some timely shots. They did make some free throws. We did have a lot of free throws. I don't ever remember shooting 31 free throws in a game in a really long time. I don't know the last time we shot 31 free throws was, but it's got to be a long time. I thought it was cool that Valo's mom got to see him play for the first time. That's
very
nice.
cool. Very cool. Well, 31 free throws, and Malik Renew, 6 of 6, some huge ones down the stretch. Luke Goody, same, some big free throws late. He was 8 of 10 from the free throw line. The Anthony Leal, dude, he locked Bruce Thornton up. Dude, straight up. Bruce Thornton, who's an all-league player, 2 of 10, 9 points. I mean, hell of a job, Anthony Leal.
Yeah, he played a good defense. I never know. They said Bruce Thornton has always been bad versus IU in the past. Somehow he's never played good versus us, and kudos to us for that.
They did a nice job on him. They did. And it wasn't all Anthony Leal. I mean, there was times where Carlisle was there and Galloway, but primarily Leal was the main defender on him. And Micah Parrish was really kind of killing us for a while. Indiana, got on the backs of Trey Galloway. And I mean the Trey Galloway moment of his career, the shot that, depending on what bracket you follow, may have put Indiana at least into Dayton. And with a win on Thursday against Oregon, we do know that now that Indiana will play Oregon on Thursday at noon. Kudos to Trey Galloway going out on top. He started a little slow, 16 points, 6 assists, only 2 turnovers in 34 minutes. The seniors, quite frankly, Galloway and Leal kind of willed them on both sides of the floor to that win, in my book. Obviously Renew had a lot to do with it inside and free throw line, but I thought those two guys on either end of the floor kind of were what was required late, and they've caught a lot of heat from both of us, but I really had no issues, especially in the second half, with either one of them.
Yeah, it's a backcourt, honestly, I never want to see again, but I feel like they played the best that they could play, and they willed us to a win, and I'm happy about that.
Leal had 8 rebounds, dude.
He was our leading rebounder.
He makes winning plays. He makes winning plays.
He does make winning plays. He does the dirty work no one else wants to do.
2 blocks.
Defense. Gets steal there. He does some things. Obviously,
he is a lot bigger than people give him credit for too. I mean, he's a pretty good sized kid. Like they have him listed at 6'5", and it looks to be there. Like him and Galloway are big guys. If you see them up close, like they're big dudes. Like they're not small. So I think that is one thing they do have going for them. They're a bit older. They're physical. They've got the size that maybe a Miles Rice and Kanan Carlisle don't have. So I think that's what has helped buoy this team there. But I think, moving forward, you got 7 guys on this team.
What's the refund policy on those two?
We'll get to them. We'll get to them. But going forward, you got really 6 guys. Maybe, if I'm going down, Mbako, he wasn't horrible yesterday. He really couldn't get it going offensively, but he did have 5 rebounds. He only turned it over once in 31 minutes. He played okay defensively late, but he's not somebody you can count on. But Goody Ballo, Leo Galloway, Renew are that's your five. And then, Rice and Mbako, you're not sure what you're going to get, but that's it. Like Carlisle, no more. Those 2 minutes are the worst 2 minutes of anybody I've ever seen. The 2 minutes he played yesterday were flat out awful. Like back break, I would love to see his plus minus in 2 minutes.
He's Gabe Cupps 2.0. I hate to say it, but yeah, he's a reincarnation of Gabe Cupps.
Gabe Cupps is 5 times the player that Carlisle is. I mean, Carlisle came in immediately, essentially 3 turnovers because he took 2 terrible shots that had no shot of going in, and then threw the ball away and fouled. No, he didn't foul. Sorry, he didn't foul. And threw the ball away. And luckily, Woodson was like, all right, seen enough, out. So that's what they have going forward. But, kudos to Indiana winning on senior day. What'd you make of Woodson saying, oh, maybe I retired too early? Any thoughts on that?
I had to open up another Modelo because, Woodson did what he could in 4 years, but let's just be honest. It's time. We gotta get with new age basketball. We can't be scoring 66 points and shooting 35%. I mean, if you're shooting 35% and 25% from 3-point range, most of the time you're not winning, and it's not close. Like, we can't do that versus Oregon. Oregon's a real basketball team.
No, I mean we do. I mean, luckily, I think for Indiana, and on Woodson's comments, everybody, don't worry. As soon as literally, it was almost like after he said that on the broadcast, Indiana's Twitter account immediately put out the tribute video. Thank you, coach. Like, just to make sure everybody knew. And I have a couple of tidbits for the coaching search that we'll have here at the end, but I'll give credit to Indiana. That was a game that could have gotten away from them. They found a way to win. The shot that Galloway took, I was questioning why the shot clock went to 20 that instead of 30. And Tony Adranya did correct me, or he answered. He didn't correct me. I asked on Twitter yesterday. I called him Gene's territory. He said, I thought we were friends when I called him Gene's territory. So sorry, Tony. I thought I was, but what have you. It was a turnover in the backcourt. So that made it reset to 20 versus going to 30. So, because I was like, why is the shot clock running down? And Trey had to put it up. I don't think he knew either. And
it seemed quick. Like, I didn't think there was.
It clearly wasn't the play. And I mean, Galloway didn't have anything else he could do. I think he looked up and was like, oh shit, there's 3 seconds on the shot clock. I got to do something. So, but I will say Trey Galloway deserved that to be his, but there's more season left to be played. He's at least got 1 more game left, and hopefully much more than that. But at least at Assembly Hall, like, what a way to go out with that being kind of your last memory there.
Yeah, probably your last shot. I thought Ohio State played terrible in the last minute with their time management. They had a couple chances to foul Galloway. They didn't do it. I don't know. I hope in the future that we just don't give Galloway the ball. We don't need to give bad free throw shooters the ball. We have 3 good free throw shooters. Like, there's no reason to not get the ball in the right people's hands in the last minute. I just don't. Yeah. I don't understand that to save my life.
I think we saw
what game was that versus Maryland, Wisconsin? We saw where it cost us a game, a good game.
No, I think Woodson's mentality is, I don't care about the analytics. I'm giving it to my seniors at the end. And they're, I'm going to stick with the guys that have played for 5 years versus, really everybody on the roster outside of Mbako, it really is that plays right now is in that mold. I mean, Rice a little bit, but Rice didn't attempt a free throw. But Renew, man, 6 of 6 from the line, and those are some big free throws he hit. I think all 6 were crunch time, relatively crunch time free throws.
Yeah.
Anything else on the Ohio State game before we talk about Big Ten tournament? Nothing really comes to mind. At least for me.
Basically, if you watch the game, it was a rock fight, and there was good defense, terrible offense. They did play hard, and that basically sums it up. I mean, it wasn't a glorious thing to watch. It was not a masterpiece by any stretch of the imagination. We're just glad our team won. They played hard. And, you know, sometimes you don't have it and you got to do other things to win. You know what I'm saying? Like some nights you just don't have it.
Yeah. And so it sets the bracket now for the, the Big Ten tournament. Like I said, Indiana plays on Thursday at high noon on Thursday at noon against Oregon. So I'm thinking
Thursday. You said Thursday at noon?
Thursday at noon.
Ooh,
right?
On my birthday. Can we get a birthday win?
Yeah, I'm hoping. I mean, it's on BTN, so you don't have to stream it.
Oh,
right?
thank God.
But before that, Northwestern plays Minnesota, Iowa plays Ohio State in the 10-15 matchup, and then USC Rutgers. So that's the three games before here in Indianapolis, where I am. I actually went to the UCLA USC game today. I got tickets super cheap to Juju Watkins, and saw USC actually lose that. It was a pretty good time. Actually got some cheap tickets and went down there last minute.
Will we have boots on the ground on Thursday?
I'm not quite sure. I have this thing that actually provides income, unlike this podcast that I may not be able to get out of, but I made a commitment to my son that if they win on Thursday and play Michigan State Friday, I'll take him out of school and we'll go to the game on Friday. So more than likely boots on the ground will be Friday, but you never know. I'm going to see what I can do this week and figure that out. But yeah, Indiana plays Oregon. And so in that matchup, I was thinking about this when, Illinois was, whether they were going to beat Purdue or not, and that really would dictate who Indiana was going to play. I was like, I don't want to play Illinois. And really, Indiana didn't have a chance to play Illinois or Purdue unless it's in the championship. So, but Oregon now has to travel all the way across the country and play at 9:00 their time. And they've been on the West Coast for a while. I like Indiana in that game if we bring the effort and we can't shoot 35%. But I like Indiana in that game. It's like, West Coast team coming and playing the NFL at 1:00. It's like 10:00 for them. That's tough to get up and get going. Versus Indiana, it's a bus ride up on Wednesday, stay overnight, a lavish hotel downtown Indy, and you're on your same time zone. So I like Indiana there, and the winner of that gets Michigan State, who we've already beaten. So anybody that as we start to get into talking about the tournament, we're going to talk about that next. These are quad one opportunities essentially for Indiana the rest of the way.
Yeah.
If you beat Oregon, that's a quad one win on a neutral because they're in the top 50 of the net. And then Michigan State, obviously, and then really anybody after that, you're looking at Wisconsin, UCLA, most likely would be that. So you're going to be quad one all the way through. So Indiana, by not having, imagine had they lost to Ohio State and then they're needing to win a couple, you're playing Iowa, which is could open up the opportunities for a bad loss. So the wins they got to get to the 10-10 mark, or even if they'd have been 10-10 and been the 10th seed and had to play Wednesday, you're setting yourself up for maybe a bad loss that kicks you out. Now, really, a neutral court loss to Oregon's not going to kill you. You want to win that. You really need to win it. I think if Indiana wins, then we just watched them play Oregon, so I don't think there's a lot we can, take from that Oregon game except really just replicate what you did against them and execute, right? Replicate what you did on Tuesday and execute, right?
You got to make some shots.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Down the stretch, they are making shots.
You can't shit the bed. You can't go 0 for your last 10. I think isn't that what we did versus Oregon? Over our last 10, I think.
Something like that. So yeah, it does set up for at least the opportunity for Indiana to really this is a tournament game. It's cliche, but it is. This is essentially the round of what would that be? Imagine there's 2 playing games. Indiana's in the first one right here, right? You win this, you're in my book, you're in. We just had today, looking at scores, just as you talk about Drake, and they won their conference tournament. So Drake would have been a bubble team had they lost. They win their conference tournament today. So I think in terms of bid thieves, that's one we're not going to have to worry about. So that's one to watch out for. But their coach, Ben, I'm going to need to talk more about him in a second. But any thoughts on the Big Ten tournament and just kind of what lies in front of Indiana this week coming up?
The teams I've seen in the Big Ten are beatable. I mean, there's not a team that's like, it's not like we're playing Auburn or Duke or one of these teams that, frankly, I just don't think we have a shot versus. But
we beat the 1 seed. We already beat the 1 seed.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We played good versus Oregon. I saw Michigan play today. They did not impress me at all. They don't have any guards. Their two big men are really, really good. Don't get me wrong. But their guards are terrible.
Christy May shouldn't have been worried about the IU job because he's fallen off a cliff.
Yeah.
Somehow they're still the 3 seed, but they are not looking good right now.
Arkansas had a big game as a bid stealer this weekend. I saw that.
Yeah, the Arkansas win did not help Indiana. If you look at like bracket matrix, which is they've consolidated it down to 92 total brackets. Indiana's in 89 of those. So a high likelihood that Indiana's in. And for all intents and purposes of this show and this season, Indiana making it even to Dayton, I think a month ago, no one even thought that would even be in the realm of possibility. I think people thought we were headed towards a losing record for season. So you got to give them credit for turning it around. But I think Indiana is in.
Yeah.
I think they're in even if they lose Thursday.
I do too, because I saw some brackets where Ohio State's in, and there's no way Ohio State can be in over us. We beat them twice, and they had more. They had more losses than we did, and I just don't think they could be in over us. I mean, I see Ohio State in a few brackets. Are you seeing that now?
Yeah, I mean, Ohio State is right behind us, and then Xavier's been playing well, yet their body of work is not strong either. I mean, VCU is a team to watch. They lost the other night. I think we want them to win their conference tournament, the A-10. We just need them to win so they're not a potential bid thief. I mean, SEC, Arkansas, Oklahoma beat Texas. So that was kind of an elimination game essentially. Boise State lost the other night, North Carolina, Texas, Nebraska lost today. They're done unless they win the Big Ten tournament, right? So Nebraska's played themselves out. It's to me, it would have to be some pretty significant bid thieves for Indiana to not even make it to Dayton at this point. I think it's fair.
Yeah.
Right? And it could happen, but if Indiana's the last team in versus, let's say, Boise, they're going to get, what's a better draw for television and rating? I mean, probably Indiana, right? I mean, let's be honest, fans, all that stuff. But they typically sell out in Dayton, so I don't want to get into that too much. That's a little bit too conspiracy-ish. But, who does – I got to look at the SEC tournament bracket, but, is there anybody in there – if you just –
that Alabama Auburn game was awesome.
Yeah, that was a hell of a game. But I'm talking the SEC tournament bracket, right, is let's see it here. So SEC, I want to look at Oklahoma and so Oklahoma or Georgia plays Oklahoma. So Georgia's in. So yeah, Georgia's in. You want Georgia to win that game. I think so. And then Texas plays Vandy. You want Vandy to win that game, I think. Vandy's looking like they're on a 9 line at this point, according to bracket matrix. Georgia's on a 9 line. And then Arkansas plays South Carolina. Now, that's the game. They just lost to South Carolina by 20 at South Carolina. It's the first game of the SEC tournament. Indiana fans, you're rooting for South Carolina to beat John Calipari. That would knock Arkansas back out of the tournament. And then the teams around Indiana are Oklahoma, Indiana, Ohio State. I really have a hard time that if it's up to an Indiana, Ohio State, like how do you put Ohio State in over Indiana and they beat them twice head to head? That would not make sense to me. But they have Ohio State has a win over Kentucky. They've got some good wins earlier in the year, but
we also have finished ahead of them in the standings. I don't see how that could be possible.
I think like Ohio State has to win a couple, but also like a number of losses comes into play. So it's going to be an interesting week. SEC tournament kicks off. What is that, Wednesday at 1:00? So that'll that Arkansas South Carolina game goes on before any of the Big Ten tournament games start. So I would recommend people watching that. And hope. I don't think South Carolina wins that, but if Arkansas wins that, they play Ole Miss, which you'd want Ole Miss to win that game, and that may transition us in, Ben. Unless you have any other thoughts on the tournament to talk about the coaching search for a little bit.
No, we can go to the coaching search.
So there are whispers in the wind of, Jeff, your boy Jeff Goodman came out today and was talking about
pretty much Nick's five guys. Yeah.
Well, but he I want to make sure I'm quoting him correctly. What did he say? It was he tweets too much. I can't get to it here, but basically he said if Indiana wants to be nationally relevant again and in advance of the tourney, the Hoosiers should just hire Chris Beard. And I would be very, very surprised if Indiana hires Chris Beard. But there are whispers of Indiana vetting Chris Beard, which you've advocated for him on this show. And in terms of basketball coach, no other outside stuff. The guy's a great basketball coach. There's no doubt on the court. I think it's the vetting of what's going on, but it sounds like Indiana's vetting them. But I was on this program a couple weeks ago, and who did I tell you was going to be the coach?
Who did you tell me was going to be the coach? Dan Dockich?
No. Ben McCollum from Drake, who won their conference tournament today. The guy's won his league 11 years in a row. Now, granted, before it was D2, but maybe this guy is like the next Bo Ryan or like a Nate Oates or something. Like maybe there's something here.
Or Kurt Sig.
He could be. I mean, here's where I'm at with this.
My one problem with it is our last few hires have not been great in my eyes, and in McCollum's, he's risky. I mean, he can coach, but can he recruit? So I don't know.
Well, that's where I want to go with this. Is I think there's 4 guys that it's realistically could be. I think that it's a McCollum, Brad Brownell from Clemson, who has ties to Indiana, is from Evansville. It's not sexy. I think Mick Cronin is still someone that would be interested if Indiana were to call. And I think Chris Beard is becoming more viable, at least because people are starting to say, like, hey, we got to win. And I don't know that any of these, because to me, if I'm Indiana and those were my 4 choices, Cronin and Brownell, that's not going to move the needle, in my opinion. In my opinion, you either got to take a big swing and say, we think what Chris Beard did was fucked up, but we want to win basketball. You just need to be honest about it, right? You just need to own it. If that's what you're fine, right? My beef with it. I think you could find somebody else, but if that's the rap, or you have to take a risk, because what if Ben McCollum is the next great thing? What if he is a Bo Ryan? What if he is better than that? Like we can, if he can coach basketball and you can get people, because that's what I think it takes in today's college basketball, is you need to actually be able to coach basketball. This isn't just about relationships and players. Like Indiana's a brand. You can get people to come be with you. You need to hire a GM that's going to go out and get these players. So to me, I think it's either Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, right? You either go McCollum or Beard. Established coach with baggage or not established coach that has won a shitload. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. I think we'll probably go McCollum because we play safe, and I don't know.
Is that safe? I mean, that's not safe. That's risky.
Yeah, it's not safe, but it's not. You don't have to explain things. But I tell you what, Chris Beard's got no problems recruiting because he got Wheeler Wildcats. They won their 10th state championship, and he got their best player.
Well, there you go. I mean, like, I'm not worried about the recruiting aspect of it, to be honest. But like, if you're telling me there's no Brad Stevens, there's no Dusty May, which, I mean, honestly, like, I'm kind of out on Dusty May. I know that sounds 2020, hindsight 2020, but it doesn't. I'm not like, he's not doing great right now. TJ Otzelberger, Scott Drew, if all of them are saying no, like, maybe get in front of this McCollum before he goes to Iowa, where he's from, by the way, Iowa City, and they end up hiring him, and he ends up beating the crap out of us for the next 10 years at Iowa. And I'm not saying Iowa's a great job. Indiana is obviously a much better job than Iowa, but Fran McCaffrey's about to be on his way out, and Ben McCollum's from there. I mean, that would be the logical next step for him. So do you, if you're Indiana, if all these other people tell you no, if you're down to saying, hey, we vetted Chris Beard, we just can't do it, we don't feel comfortable with it, the administration won't sign off on it, whatever. Okay, fine. So then you're down to a Mick Cronin or a Brad Brownell, who are established college basketball coaches, have won, but I don't know that they're going to take you to the levels of, and McCollum might not, but he might be like, he might be the next great thing. Like, I mean, you watch his Drake teams. I mean, they're 30-3. I get it. They beat Bradley today. They beat the crap out of them. They won their conference. Let's see what they do. But I mean, I think he's in the running.
And NC State could get him. NC State needs a coach now.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Wes Miller tries to get the hell out of Cincinnati before he gets fired from there and goes to NC State.
Who's the guy that had the wiretapping thing? And he
Will Wade.
Yeah. We probably wouldn't go that route, huh?
I mean, I think that
we should just have Calvin Sampson
I like to say,
go 360, let him come back, redeem himself.
I mean, if you're if you're going to do that, go get Rick Pitino. Like, I mean, like, at least hey, we got like 3 years to win before, But yeah, Ben McCollum, he's an Iowa native. He was a head coach. Like, he won 4 national championships. The guy's from Iowa City. Like, he's going to be the next coach at Iowa if Indiana doesn't take him. And I'll tell you what 5 years from now, when we're sitting here doing this, sponsored by Modelo, and Ben McCollum is kicking our ass, and we're hiring another coach because we didn't hire him, I'm just saying it might work. I would rather hire him and take a chance than hire Brad Brownell.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, though. A few years back, we were worried about Bruce Pearl and all his outside the lines things that he supposedly did. And he wanted to come here, and we wouldn't take him because of his supposed baggage. And he's killing it.
But like with Pearl, those were things that are now legal that Sampson did. Like they had cold feet, revisionist history. Like Bruce Pearl has not done anything illegal. He broke NCAA rules, but he hasn't done anything illegal. He hasn't been arrested. He doesn't have any allegations of assault or stalking or any of this shit. Yeah, he's a lightning rod, and he broke some rules for recruiting, but like he's not He didn't have a mugshot. I get like that. Like the ball, like can if I'm just saying like, hey, are your equal coaches? I'm taking one without the mugshot. I get it. He was exonerated. I get all that. Like, go read the police report. Like, it's just like I mean, it is like strangulation and bruising of the neck. Like, it's not. It doesn't go away for me. I get it. I understand where people are coming from, and you got to give people another opportunity. I understand that, right? And he's earning that currently, and it may come. And Indiana might hire him, right? Like, wait, I have to trust that if Indiana hires Chris Beard, that Scott Dawson's vetted him up one side and down the other, that is the, and when I say only, it is a big only, right? I don't think Indiana will do it, but we'll put him out there.
But Sherm, here's where I'm at. I'm a diehard Eagles fan, and we got this guy named Jalen Carter, who I don't want to rehash it, but he was racing a car. Someone died. He had a lot of red flags. Where would we be at today without him? We wouldn't have won the ship. That's pro sports, and he's not the face of your franchise.
Yeah, he could be. He's our best defender. I'm just saying this is, college basketball, and that's the face of your program. I think it's different, but I get what you're saying. He left the scene of a accident where the guy died, right? He was drunk, or he's the one that wrecked the car and killed him, right? That was the.
I don't know. I don't want to get into logistics because I don't know, but all I'm saying
it's not good.
He had some red tape on him. We took a chance, and we're holding the trophy.
Hey, it's all about here's what I'll say about this. Okay. Pam Whitten is a woman, and she's the head of the university. And if she can look at Chris Beard's past, can have a conversation with him and hire him and feel comfortable about it, then I have to trust that we need to move forward in that direction. Right? Like that they're willing to say that there's nothing else, that there's, whatever the case may be. Like there's difference of there's morals, and then there's actual laws and things of that nature. And we disagree on this, which is fine. There's a lot of people that disagree about this, right? So, with that, I think that's where it sits. McCollum, Brownell, Beard, with maybe a Mick Cronin as a safety net.
What about your boy Buzz? Any buzz on him?
I think he's probably just a leverage play to try to get more money at Texas A&M. He's probably about time for a bouncing out there, but who knows? But if Drew and Otzelberger and Stevens and May aren't coming, I think Indiana really needs to look at, do we make the Kurt Cignetti hire? And maybe it's Byington from Vandy. I don't know. He seems to be a pretty good coach who's doing it at a higher level. Vandy's had some really good wins in a tough SEC. So, is that a guy, and he has the ties to Cignetti, right? That he actually coached at James Madison with Cignetti. So maybe we should keep him on the list because of the Cignetti connection and just all the kind of corollaries there. So I just, look at Kentucky. They went with Mark Pope.
What about Florida's coach?
Golden.
That guy can coach. I know he had stalking charges and whatever else. But.
We're back at. It's fine. I just I can deal with when I Google my coach's name that they got in trouble with the NCAA. I put that above the police, I guess, is my if you're Todd Golden, for anybody out there, he was accused of stalking someone on Instagram, and I don't know, right? But Ben McCollum, for all intents and purposes, you Google him, he just wins. The son of a bitch just is a coaching mofo. It wins. That's all I can say. He might come to Indiana and stink, but he's never stunk in his entire coaching career, so it has no reason to make me think he would now. If you can get players, he appears to be a tactician that goes out and kicks ass, at the levels that he's coached at, which I'm down with.
Like Nate Oates.
Yes, absolutely. Somebody had to give Nate Oates a shot.
And I wish
he was
it was
at Buffalo, but he was at Buffalo.
Kicking
he
ass.
was at Buffalo and went to Alabama, right?
Yeah. He was kicking ass.
So McCollum's at Drake 1 year, and he's won the conference tournament, and he's going to be what seed will they be? They'll probably be in the 5-12. Like imagine you're Dusty May, a 5 seed. You get to play Drake first round. Good luck, Dusty. Like that's what I want. That's what I'm here for. Is McCollum plays Dusty May in the first round of the tournament and kicks his ass, and then gets the Indiana job with a big middle finger up to him. How about that?
God, I hope he doesn't go too far. He might get a better job.
There's no better job. There's not a better job.
Well, not at the current moment. You never know.
I mean, I don't see anybody unless Bill Self retired. Like, what job that's better than Indiana is going to come up?
Bill Self's not retiring. He's not going anywhere. He got the
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Unless Izzo retires, right? That could happen. Yeah. So, all right. Well, we've gone long enough. Indiana, big game on Thursday, but I do think they're at least in Dayton. Yeah. Unless there's absolute chaos this week, which wouldn't be the first time that happened. But the bubble's not even that big. I mean, you're looking at, like, they've got other at large is Boise, North Carolina, Texas, Nebraska, UC Irvine. Like, we're in over all them.
Yeah,
North Carolina above all those.
North Carolina's 0-11 versus one. What's it called? One. What do you call it?
What?
The different divisions that they came up with. Quad. They're 0-11 in quad 1 games.
Who is?
North Carolina.
Jesus. Well, with that, then I feel really good about. I wanted to look up real quick just with Xavier, the Big East tournament bracket, because I think that's one to watch as well. Who's Xavier play? Beside the point. So yeah, Xavier plays. They're probably going to play Marquette. The bracket, they're the 4. Xavier's a 4 seed. The Big East stinks. All right, enough said. Indiana, big game. Might have boots on the ground there Thursday. Not sure yet, but everybody at Hoosier Court Pod on all the social platforms, hit us up, and we'll talk to you Thursday night.
Later.